What's going on, everyone? Damon here. Today I'm still reeling from the experience I just had in Days Gone. I just witnessed the conclusion of Deacon St. John's journey, and honestly, it left its mark. But don't think for a second that this ride was a quiet one. This is a world where survival means facing down hundreds of ravenous freakers, where every ride on the broken road could be your last. I've just rolled credits on this intense and emotional story, and now I'm here to give you my gamer dad review of Days Gone. If you're ready to dive into this post-apocalyptic world with me, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more gaming reviews. For those of you who might be new to the apocalypse, Days Gone is an open-world action-adventure survival horror game from Ben Studio and Sony Interactive Entertainment, initially on PlayStation 4 and later on PC. You step into the boots of Deacon St. John, a drifter and bounty hunter trying to survive 2 years after a devastating pandemic turned much of humanity into these terrifying creatures known as freakers. At its core, the gameplay revolves around exploring this dangerous open world, engaging in intense combat with freakers and human enemies, while trying to upgrade Deacon and his trusty motorcycle to survive. While the action is definitely a huge part of the experience, Days Gone tells a very personal story about loss, hope, and the bonds we forge in the face of unimaginable tragedy. And having just seen that story through to the end, let's get into what I thought about the whole thing. So let's talk about the story, because this is where I think Days Gone shines. Deacon's journey is a compelling one. You witness his grief, his determination, his loyalty, and his growth throughout the whole game. Finishing the story left me with a real sense of accomplishment. When it comes to all the characters, I think they're amazing. Deacon is a flawed but ultimately likable protagonist, and his relationship with Boozer is one of the highlights of the game. The supporting cast, from Sarah to the various camp leaders, are all well developed and contribute to the overall narrative. I found myself really invested in all of their fates. Now let's talk about the pacing of Days Gone. The pacing of the story is just slow enough to keep you engaged in what is happening. With the different stories of a lot of other side characters, it makes you almost emotionally involved in everyone you encounter. Even the small vendor NPCs have little stories that get told if you pay close attention. It's a great little detail I really appreciated and enjoyed. There were so many WTF moments and emotions while playing this game, from sadness to anger. The way the story unfolds is an emotional investment, which is something I really appreciate in this game. Now, of course, Days Gone isn't just about the story. The gameplay is a crucial part of the experience. The open world of Oregon is vast and atmospheric, and riding Deacon's bike through it is a core part of the game. The diverse environments, from dense forests to snowy mountains, felt really detailed and lived in. Riding the bike, while sometimes a bit clunky, became a core part of the experience, offering moments of both serene exploration and tense anticipation. The weather system and day and night cycle really enhanced the immersion, making the world feel dynamic and dangerous. There was always something to discover, whether it was a hidden cache or a small environmental story. The gameplay loop itself is pretty satisfying as well. It revolves around exploring this dangerous world, scavenging for resources, which is super important, crafting essential items like bandages and Molotovs, taking on missions for the various survivor camps, and, of course, dealing with the ever-present threat of freakers. Speaking of crafting, I found it to be a really essential and intuitive system. Being able to craft on the fly has saved my life on more than one occasion. I definitely had my go-to recipes, and it encouraged me to really explore. The combat in Days Gone can be super intense. My approach usually involved running in headfirst, guns a-blazing, which I wouldn't advise you to do. But towards the middle and end of the game, I tried to be more stealthy whenever possible, especially when I was dealing with small groups of enemies and clearing out infestations. But when things got loud, which they often did, the gunplay felt great, and I appreciated the variety of weapons available for me to use depending on the situation. I found myself consistently switching between my sidearm, a rifle, and my sniper rifle depending on the situation. Perfecting the dodge rolling became second nature, and learning the attack patterns of different enemy types was key to my survival. Now let's talk about hordes. These are a defining feature of Days Gone, and honestly, they are both incredibly challenging and exciting. There's nothing quite like a sheer panic of turning a corner and seeing a huge group of freakers bearing down on you. My strategies for taking them down usually involved running in headfirst and running in circles, shooting and throwing everything I had at them. This obviously was not a good idea. You'd want to scout the area, find some of the traps, and make sure you have Molotovs ready to go. I remember my first encounter with the Horde, this being the Death Train Horde, where I was trying to clear an infestation. I wasn't fully prepared since it was my first time encountering them. All I did was run for my life, weaving through cars and using every trick I knew to survive until I could find an escape route. It was absolutely heart pounding. The dynamic nature of hordes, how they react to sound and light, really made each encounter feel unique and kept me on my toes throughout the entire game. When it comes to the visuals of Days Gone, it is really impressive for a game released in 2021, and especially considering they are releasing a remastered version soon. The environments are detailed and the weather system adds to the immersion. The character models are also well done, conveying the emotions of the story effectively. And the sound design in Days Gone is phenomenal. The creepy noises from the freakers are truly unsettling, and the overall audio landscape really enhances the feeling of being in a dangerous, post-apocalyptic world. While I really enjoyed Days Gone, it's not without its flaws. For a game that came out on PC in 2021, there were still things that didn't work the way I thought they would. There were many times where the enemies would glitch into items, the enemies wouldn't spawn, and enemies would fly across the screen after being killed. They were funny, but it's just little issues like that. Then you have the whole fast travel feature. I would rather you fast travel into the camp versus outside of the camp and have to drive in. There were times where I would get attacked after fast traveling because I was outside of the camp and not in it. But that's just my personal preference. Other than that, the fast travel feature is fine. So having just finished the story of Days Gone, what's my verdict? Overall, I found it to be a really engaging and emotional experience. Deacon's journey is one that stuck with me, and the gameplay, while challenging, was ultimately rewarding. The hordes are a unique and thrilling addition to the zombie genre. Now, would I recommend Days Gone? Even with the remaster on its way, I would highly recommend this game. If you're looking for a story-driven, open-world game with intense action and a compelling protagonist, then I definitely think it's worth checking out, especially if you enjoy the survival horror elements and want to kill a bunch of zombies. Now, I'm really curious to hear from you guys. Have you guys played Days Gone? What do you think of the story? What were your favorite moments? Let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this review and want to see more content like this, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video or next live stream.